Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to our reading of Elsie Lincoln Benedict's book, How to Get Anything You Want. We are on video number 68, I believe. We're reading this entire book together. It is filled with metaphors, different advice, teaching about the subconscious mind, and we're reading it all the way through together. There are 7 lessons. We're on lesson number 5, Prepare for What You Want. If you missed any of the previous readings, be sure to check out the playlist on YouTube under How to Get Anything You Want by Elsie Lincoln Benedict, along with many other playlists of videos. If you want just a little earful of fun and positivity and personal development, spiritual development, and just positive mindset, how we can get our mind right. I like my ponytail. Isn't that fun? I'm getting my hair done tomorrow. I'm going to get some blonde streaks in it. We'll see. All right. Let's get cracking on this. All right, so we left off yesterday. It says, if you want a soft future, take the hardest knocks now. You will be younger tomorrow. All right. Rule number 13, do not allow other people to talk you out of doing the work you love. If you love a thing well enough to love the work it entails, you can rise to heights in that work, no matter how little other men see in it. Logan, whose story was quoted above, knew banking had no future for him because he didn't love it enough to give it complete preparation. This always depends on the individual's preference. But Percy Johnston, who at 40 became president of the Chemical National Bank of New York City, one of the largest financial institutions in America, says, a man can attain success if he is willing to get all ready for it. I began preparing myself for a banking career at the age of 12. Here are some of his mottos on the subject. Always, the man or woman who succeeds beyond his fellows is the man or woman who prepared. This kind of person meets opportunity more than halfway. Leadership calls for preparation and knowledge of human nature. Leadership calls for preparation and knowledge of human nature. Don't ask what is the easiest way it can be done, but what is the best way. The only pull worth having is the pull your preparation gives you. Learn to select your risk. Every time you learn anything, you are storing something away that you will certainly use in some way later on. And every time you fail to learn from experience or look beyond your present place, you are preparing to lose the place you have. Let me read that again. Every time you learn anything, you are storing something away that you will certainly use in some way later on. And every time you fail to learn from experience or look beyond your present place, you are preparing to lose the place you have. Rule number 14. If you want to test yourself and know, in general, whether you are making the right preparations for the future, take note of 2 things. How far ahead you are living in your mind, and how much you are doing over and above what you absolutely have to do to hold your present place. So if there's 2 things, she says, if you want to know if you're on the right track and you're preparing properly, 2 things. Number 1, are you living in the end? Do you see yourself? Do you feel yourself? Do you think about it? Do you trust? Do you believe? Of course, we all have, the doubts and everything, but primarily our predominant moods. Are we focused on what we want? That's number 1. Number 2, are we going above and beyond? Are we going the extra mile? Or are we just doing what everybody else is doing? Or are we doing above more than we're paid for? Really excelling and shining? Are we standing out, going above and beyond? Or do we have a bad attitude? I'm not going to do more. They're not paying me for this. I'll go above and beyond when they give me a raise. I'll go above and beyond when they give me that job. That's not how it works. Such a big lesson. It's about promotion. When we want to be promoted in life, and my good friend Kelly, I always tell this story, Kelly Jordan, we worked at a restaurant together, and I worked in restaurants for 18 years, y'all. 18 years. 18 years. Oh. And if you know, you know. Anyways, we had to have slip-proof shoes, right? Those ugly slip-proof shoes. You could either get them in black or white. I had to get them in black at this last restaurant that I worked at. And I will always remember, I used to keep them in my trunk. And every time I went to work, my shift, I would go to my trunk, open up, put my shoes on, my work shoes, and then walk to work. And I always remember seeing those shoes in my trunk, like on my days off. I only worked like 3 days a week, but still, it was a representation of where I was at in life. Like, why am I still here? Why aren't things changing? Surely this will be the last pair of non-slip shoes I ever buy. Surely I will not be in the same place next year. In 6 months, something will have changed. And year after year after year continued to pass. And it was time to buy a new pair of non-slip shoes because, oh, I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. Pardon me, I couldn't put mute on. Thank you if you said bless you. Okay. So the non-slip shoes that I would see in my trunk that I would have to go and purchase. I despised those non-slip shoes. I didn't really despise them, but I didn't like them. They represented more than just non-slip shoes. They represented where I was at in my life. And I did not, I was like, God, if I have to buy one more pair of non-slip shoes, because I would run them to the ground, you had to buy a new one like every year, new pair. And I remember I was talking to my friend Kelly and I said, I am not going to buy another pair of non-slip shoes. I don't care if these get holes in them and everything. And in that moment, I don't, it's a lore, it's a story now, it's a fable, but it represents something. I don't remember exactly how the conversation went, but I was saying, you know what? I had a realization. I was telling her, I will never get out of here with this attitude. I will never get promoted in life with an attitude like this, doing the bare minimum, buying the cheapest shirts that I had to wear there, being resentful for having to buy the new shoes. And my everything switched because I started doing this work. I said, you know what? This is where I'm at in my life. I'm going to come at it with a spirit of excellence. And so I worked at a place in Beverly Hills, which was bougie, right? And we'd have these white, crisp, shirts. However, not all of our shirts were crisp. Mine, I mean, I always looked good. Let's just be honest. Like I did care. I always showed up looking sharp. However, the quality of the shirts, I remember I used to go and get the cheap $12 H&M white button-up shirts that I used to wear to this black vest. We had to wear a tie and all that stuff. And they were thinner. They were just cheaply made, right? And but I'm like, had the attitude, I ain't buying a nice shirt. I'm gonna get out of here soon. This is just the bartending job, blah, blah, blah. I'm not gonna buy a new pair of shoes. I'm not gonna buy the inserts, a nice pair of inserts for these shoes. But anyways, in that conversation, I realized like, wow, I have a really bad attitude. I will never promote in life if I am not already doing my best where I'm at. So it was a lesson in if I want an excellent life and I want to be promoted, what makes me think I'm going to be promoted to something higher and better if I am living low standards right now? It reminds me also of what one of my teachers says. She goes, everybody wants to live their highest potential. Everybody wants to live their best life. They want to be their best, be their highest selves, live their highest potential. And she would tell people, she would say, you want to live your highest potential? You can't even live your lowest potential right now. Like, or I want to fulfill my highest potential. And she said, you can't even fulfill your lowest potential right now. And I just remember laughing. I was like, ooh, burn. That's so true. How many of us do want to get promoted? We want to get to higher places. We want to get promoted. We want to get to higher places in life. And we have a dumpy, rotten attitude of doing the minimum. And then we want to receive the maximum. And then it goes into, I remember thinking, wow, I want it all, man. Like, I want it all from life. Like, I want to, like, what's possible for my life. I want it all. And I just heard this voice, Carla, if you want it all, you got to give it all. And I'm like, oh, okay. Makes sense. But back to the shoe story. In that moment, I realized I am going to be excellent in this place I'm at. So I went and I bought a new pair of shoes. I got the Dr. Scholl's Rolls Royce of inserts, the best ever, clouds on my feet. And I went, they used to have, well, they still do on Rodeo Drive or around there in Beverly Hills, Brooks Brothers. If anybody knows, you know. They have white, crisp, button-up shirts, $100. Okay. When I'm used to spending 12, right? At H&M. I went and I bought that $100 Brooks Brothers shirt and I walked out on Rodeo Drive with that. Let me tell you, when I clocked in for my shift, I was floating on my Dr. Scholl's beautiful brand new shoes and my silky butter. It felt like butter on my skin, that shirt. I walked different. I felt different. I'm not kidding you. Within 6 months, I was out of that job. And those shoes, and I still laughed. I'm like, these shoes are freaking brand new, pretty much. But it was like kind of a wink to myself. I said, I'm going to give them to the Goodwill, and another server will probably get them. God bless these shoes. I kept my inserts, though. Let me tell you, I put them in some boots. But anyways, wherever you're at right now, if you're at a job, if you have a 9 to 5, if you are working just to pay the bills and it's not what you want to do it with excellence. Shift your mindset, shift your attitude and your mood. Sometimes we got to do what we got to do before we can do what we want to do. Not everybody has the luxury to leap and the net will appear. Don't be foolish. Do not do that to yourself. If you have faith and do it, great. But don't put yourself in a situation where you are compromising your basic needs and you feel it's like you're gaslighting yourself. That's what it is. And I talked a little bit about that, especially in the manifestation and personal development industry. It's like, well, just trust. You have to have faith. It'll come to you. You'll manifest it. Just leave your job, open your schedule for your new clients, and they'll just appear. I find that people who aren't struggling with money give that sort of advice. You know? So, anyways, I have a lot of thoughts on that, but we'll keep it positive. So, if you are in a situation that you don't want to be in, um, check in with yourself. Have a fearless moral inventory. How's my attitude? Attitude check. It's your attitude, it's your vibration. We learn this. She says your moods will make your life. Try to have a good mood about where you're at, right? Don't have a poopy, stinky attitude because you'll stay there. You'll get deeper and deeper in that space and you'll never break out. So, how can you have boundaries, right? And protect yourself and just be the best you can be? My whole attitude changed. I will never forget. I remember when I had already, my nose is running. When I had left, let's see, I had left my job, things had changed. I went back to grad school. I was quite humbled, because life had changed and I wasn't making the same money and I didn't have a job and it was COVID and oh my God, it was something else. And I remember after I had graduated and I was, what's it called when you're an associate and you're getting your hours? I remember thinking like, wow, I, if this doesn't work out, like I'll do whatever it takes. Like if I didn't care at that point, I was like, I don't care if I went to school and spent, have college debt. Like I don't care. I will do something that makes me happy. And if I have to go scrub toilets at Starbucks, I was like, I will get a job as a bagger at a grocery store. Like I don't even care anymore. That's when just like she says, what are you willing to give up? Like, what are you willing to do? Have your basic needs met, pay the bills, basic needs. And then do your passion if you're growing your business or if you're starting a little side gig or whatever it is, but like have the goal be freedom, time and money freedom, whatever it is for you. It's time and money freedom for me, but it's worth it. And it's like once you get there, you're there and you just have to maintain it. It's like temporary uh, challenge, temporary discomfort, temporary pain sometimes for a lifetime of freedom. Think about that. Of course, there's maintenance and you grow and everything, many more problems. But seriously, like you call the shots. When you have capital, when you have money, you have options, you have power, you have control over your life, you have autonomy. It's freedom. You never ever have to make a decision based on money ever again. It's so powerful. All right. Leadership calls for preparation and knowledge of human nature. Don't ask what is the easiest way it can be done, but what is the best way. The only pull worth having is the pull your preparation gives. Okay, we got here. Every time you learn anything, you are storing something away. We read that already. And every time that you are not paying attention, you're preparing to lose. Rule number 14, if you want to test yourself and know in general whether you're making the right decision for preparations, yeah, how how much are you embodying it, thinking about it and getting it in your mind and your body? And what are you doing to go the extra mile? That's why I got into the story about the shoes. We must make the most of today, but we must not we start again. We must make the most of today, but we must not stop there. We must also keep our mental eyes on the future. How far ahead on the road are your eyes fastened? At tomorrow, next year, or a decade away? When interviewers ask me to what one thing of all others I feel I owe my present happiness, I say, the habit, cultivated in spite of laziness and inertia, of living in the now, but looking 20 years ahead. So he's saying when he gets interviewed and everyone's like, oh my gosh, what's the one thing that you would say helps you, contribute to your success and your happiness? He says, the habit of living in the now, but looking 20 years ahead. Wisdom, says John Blake, is a plant of slow growth. After it is planted, it must be watered through the years. But it always bears fruit, and usually golden fruit, at a time when a man knows how to spend wisely and profitably the leisure which is the harvest of bygone years. Rule number 15, do not waste time bewailing the conditions of your life, but prepare for better ones. It has been well said, one half the time spent in bemoaning conditions, if spent in preparing for conditions, would remake conditions. So that's so good. It's been said, half the time spent whining about your conditions, if you spent that time preparing for your conditions, it would remake your conditions. So you can complain and you can be right. It could be really poopy stinky, right? It could be really, really uncomfortable. It can be a crappy situation. You could have been wronged. You could be, whatever, dealt a bad hand, all that jazz. And you can complain about it and you would be right. And people would commiserate with you. However, where does that get you, right? At the end of the day, do you want to be right? Do you want to be happy? Do you want to be right? Do you want to be at peace? It's just our unwillingness to let go. We need to release lower, heavy, vibratory thoughts and emotions, criticisms, anger, judgment, resentments. Did I say grievances? Grudges. I think I said that. Against ourselves and others. We have to let it go. If we want to truly have new things come in, new experiences, we must let go of the old. It's like another metaphor. It's like if you have a bunch of shoes in your closet and you want a new pair of shoes, get rid of an old pair. Energetically, just physically, you're not going to have room for them, right? How many people do that? We always have too much crap because we're just hoarders. But that's how we are inside. As without, so within. As within, so without. Yeah. All right, we'll stop there. It's late. It is 10:37. Yeah. I'll just say this has been an interesting week. Okay. But anywho, I hope you're enjoying your week. I am going to enjoy my weekend. That's for darn sure. If you want any information of how to work with me, look at my links below. I'm actually going to roll out, like I've mentioned, some new offers. So if you're interested, just keep an eye on that. And I appreciate your support, all of your comments. I truly appreciate. We got over 2,000 subscribers. What else? I think we're only like 14 hours left until I hit my 4,000 hour mark. But they send you these cute little like celebratory things. Let's see. Look at this. I got that. Congratulations. Isn't that fun? 2,000 subscribers. And then I have, let's see, out of 4,000 watch hours, I have 3,986. So yeah, I need 14 more. I think I might wake up tomorrow with them, y'all. It takes a couple days to populate. I mean, I think I for sure already have them because this is calculated as of March 1st and it's March 6th. So it's going to happen for sure by this weekend. Oh, how exciting. Wow. Dreams come true, y'all. Consistency and persistence and discipline. So what do you want? Dedicate your life to it and continue on. I don't even think I've used this pen. Let's see. Let's see if this works. Oh, it does. Oh, it's kind of nice. Maybe I'll just do a little writing with this feather pen. All right, this is enough. I gotta go to bed. Have a beautiful evening. See you tomorrow.